When I thought like Ashwin had written, and I read Ashwin had written a book, I thought like it was about his whole playing career and all that. This is a book only talks about his childhood days, is it? Like he's going to release more versions of the book and all that. One book I'm sure is going to be all that he studied in school
No,
and all that.
so
Like he'll have differential
this
equations,
is
integral equations and stuff like that.
TV umpire to director, we have a player review. Can we rock and roll, please?
This is Max, and you're listening to Bits and Pieces, the friendliest cricket podcast, episode 132. It's been an interesting week for all of us. Some of us are still reeling from the highs of the World Cup, having to deal with not having to watch cricket every day. At least for me, it's not every day 10 in the morning. I don't get to watch a game. Meetings are a lot slower now. Days are less productive. But we have to make do with things like the Euro and the Wimbledon and the Copa America. Duty calls. We still have to put a podcast out for our 10 listeners, 9 of which are on the WhatsApp group. The WhatsApp group actually has 15 or 17, but they don't listen to the podcast themselves. But we do have some listeners outside of the group who ping us on X and ask us where the next episode is coming. This is like the Kab Hai Holi equivalent, as we like to call it. So here we are with another episode. I have Chops and Varun Murli with here. This promises to be a very clean, green, controversy-free episode because nothing has been happening in the cricketing world. But always something does happen. If not, we will talk about the TNPL and the greatest opener that has been unveiled. Ashwin is now the opening batsman.
Wow.
Of his team. We can also talk about the Vitality Blast, I guess. There have been some games. If you haven't watched on the reels, Glenn Phillips just took a fantastic catch in the Lanka Premier League. So that's also happening. But we've been barred from talking about franchise cricket by our founder. So we will talk about other things like the India coach situation, which is like one big game of Russian roulette. Every day there's a name being thrown into the hat, and then we don't know what's going to happen. So it's been an interesting one. Let's start there. So, do we know who the coach is, the support staff for Gautam Gambhir? At least is Gautam Gambhir the coach? That is confirmed, right? Because I think I saw an X post from Jaisha. I mean, it had come in there hasn't been an official press conference, but there was an X post from Jaisha. And then the most trusted BCCI source, Mafadlal Bora, also tweeted about it. So I'm guessing Gautam Gambhir at least is the coach.
First of all, you are the only person who calls it extra. I mean, what is this X?
You're supposed to call it X. That's what the guy paid 45 billion or whatever he paid for it, so that he could use all his stupid fantasies. So at least you need to.
Yeah, I don't think it gets more official in Indian cricket than Jaisha's announcement. I think it doesn't get more official in world cricket also, because he said Jhanda Gadenge and Jhanda was eminently Gardofied in Barbados. So I think it's pretty much official. It's just the assistant coaches and specialized coaches which is going to be finalized now. And yeah, there is a whole 11 of names that's been finalized by now. Abhishek Nair is in the mix. Ryan Ten Doskate in the mix. But I think the best part for me was when someone tweeted on X, as you like to call it, but I'm going to say tweeted on X, that Shah Rukh's son is going to be the anti-doping coach.
No, so it's been interesting, right? So yeah, Gambhir was with KKR as a captain and then now as a mentor. And so the day he came, they said, okay, Abhishek Nair is probably going to be one of the coaches. Then the news came out that Vinay Kumar was going to be a bowling coach. Then said that no, Morne Morkel is going to be a bowling coach. Then the news was Ryan Ten Doskate would be a fielding coach, followed with how unselfish he was and blah, 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 blah. Then immediately the news is that Jonty Rhodes is going to be the fielding coach. Then there is news that no foreigners are going to be allowed as support staff because they don't care enough, or some weird explanation was given. None of this is official, right? There is no officiality on everything, on anything. Everything is just, or conjecture, as we like to call it. So we don't know.
So I think the best part is I was just checking like to actually confirm that like Gambhir has been appointed as the coach. I was looking up the BCCI website. So if you open up the BCCI website, like it starts with like VVS Lakshman actually. There's a huge pic of VVS in there reflecting on the 20 World Cup win. And Gautam Gambhir's appointment as Indian coach is like the fourth or fifth news item there. The best part about that website is that there is still a job description uh, or there is still a JD in there inviting applications for the Indian men's cricket coach,
Which I
basically.
applied.
So
I applied. They didn't pick my name
that's
for it. They
that's
said they didn't get any
that's
applications. That is a fake. That is fake news. That is not a. That is a falsification. They got my application. They did not take my application, and then they said they only got one application, and that is the person they hired.
so and the best part is on the qualifications because there was some controversy around this. So I think the qualifications say should have played minimum of 30 test matches or 50 ODIs. So I think Gambhir ticks that box. Head coach of a full member test playing nation for a minimum period of 2 years. So Gambhir doesn't tick that box. Or head coach of an associate member IPL team or equivalent league first class team national A team for a minimum period of 3 years. I don't think
No,
Gambhir has been like a
true.
head coach for an IPL team for 3 years or should have BCCI level 3 certification or equivalent. So I don't think Gambhir ticks that box either. And finally, it should be below 60 years of age. So yeah, I mean, for all the qualifications that they have put out, so Mr. Abhishek Chopra can probably like opine whether the JD has been appropriately drafted. Like there should have been a good to have or like candidates with the following skill sets will be preferred. So because this is like a blatant violation of the JD.
I'm quite sure he's above 60 also, given how much he's grown old after all that cribbing about 91 versus 97. So yeah, I don't think he satisfies any of the criteria. But I think the best part about all of this is, one, they didn't receive any application, and then um, Suman Kumar's doppelganger, Suman Kumar, who's the creator of what is that show called?
Writer of Family Man.
Yeah, Family Man, doppelganger W.V. Raman. He put out a tweet, very like poetic, reflective tweet about some train journey, I think, because I think he was the scapegoat this time. Always their scapegoat was Tom Moody. I think every time Tom Moody's name has to be there in the chit box, and then they will pick out some other name. This time, Tom Moody refused to get paid even for that. So W.V. Raman was probably the other name, and he was obviously not given the nod. So yeah, I think it's going to be Gambhir as the coach, and only the small matter of assistant coaches, etc., remains.
No, the more I read this job description, it's an absolute ripper actually, because I don't think like we went through it because of that whole Google form. I mean, it has unbelievable stuff in there. So it has stuff like key accountabilities. The head coach will be responsible for reviewing, maintaining, and enforcing the disciplinary codes within the Indian men's team. Operating environment must be willing to meet work expectations and pressures associated with handling marquee athletes. Communication and working relationships, external stakeholders, fans, broadcasters, media, national teams. I don't know what national teams are there. Internal stakeholders, BCCI office bearers, CEO BCCI, men's senior selection committee. So it's competencies. The head coach should be an outstanding communicator and man manager. Their focus will be on managing a competitive, highly skilled and self-reliant Indian team and an elite performance environment that demands exceptional standards of professionalism. And the other interesting, unlike the usual like BCCI coaching applications, the term they mentioned is for a 3.5 year period. So it's actually going till December 31st to 27. Number of staff supervised 14 to 16, direct reports and total 14 to 16. all that shit is in this job description, basically. So,
So what's your problem, Ra? I mean, it's fine. I mean,
It's HR
they've copy
jargon.
pasted it from somewhere and they've put it out there. How does it matter? I don't know.
Abhishek Chopra coming to the rescue of his HR compatriots from the
Yeah, I'm just saying
BCCI.
it's copy paste, Ra. It must be like Chat GPT or something. So
Yeah.
it's cool.
But speaking
uh,
of Gambhir, there's been a bunch of tweets that have been coming out of the stuff that he has said in the past. So one I'm going to read out. I'm a strong believer in one thing. If you are good, then you need to play all three formats of the game. I'm not in favor of playing specific formats and missing other formats because of workload management and injury. I believe you should play all three formats. That is statement number one that has come out in some time. Statement number two. Gambhir is very clear in his mind that he will need players specific to each format. When it comes to T20 cricket, he is not the one to overlook consistent IPL performers. The seniors in the team will be needed for the longer formats for the rest of the year.
But it's fine, Ra. So that's the catch, right? He says in the first one, he says, if you're good, you need to play all three formats. If you're not good, then you'll be format specific player. No, what's the point?
But I think Gambhir has this awesome thing where he will say everything, right? So that it's like throwing cow dung on the wall, right? You just throw a bunch of balls of cow dung. Some of them will stick and become those, discs,
Kicks.
cakes, and the rest will just fall down. You just roll it up again and throw it up again. So he will just say a bunch of things. Something will stick because then it's. Remember, I told that day itself. Only IPL players should play T20. And if doesn't fit, remember I told that day itself, players should play all three formats. Right? So
Yeah.
it's there. He's the Varun Murli of the cricketing world.
I was just waiting for you to drag me in there to
Because
be
you will make every prediction.
humorous. Like,
You will make every prediction that Australia will win, India will win, West Indies will win. One of the three is definitely going to win.
when did I make every prediction? Da? When did I make every prediction? Da? I was the only guy who put my neck out and said India will win the T20 World Cup, and everybody laughed at me. The streets will remember. Gambhir made one more outrageous statement like this IPL, right? Wherein he said like he doesn't believe in video analysis, never like talk to a video analyst. It's all gut instinct for him and all that. So I don't know how this is all going to work out. Hopefully there is a different like side to him as coach as compared to what he puts out in the public domain. But yeah, I'm very nervous about this whole stint. I'm not sure he was the type of character that this team required, basically.
I don't think so. No, I think it's going to be no in between type of situation. Either it's going to be like we are winners in all three formats at the same time, or it's going to be something like Greg Chappell, where he's going to fight with multiple people at the same time. I'm just glad that one format you have the two big names bowing out with a tournament win, because that's going to be the most contentious format, 2 year cycle, unnecessary increase of blood pressure. I'm glad those two have seen the writing on the wall, and they've been able to get out of the scene on their own terms. So yeah, let's see what happens in the tests and ODIs with those guys.
I think now we can say that officially West Indies is the farewell designate team. Whenever someone needs to be given a farewell, they call West Indies home. We did that for the great man at Wankhede, and now we've done it for another guy at the Lords. So they've been called as T20 mercenaries, but I think they're also now Test mercenaries for retirements and farewells. Um, so West Indies were called to England, were absolutely, blown away to smithereens. Unfortunately, Jimmy couldn't get past couldn't get past Shane Warne. I think he ends up at 704. But this new guy, Gus Atkinson, took 12 for the game. VaMu, did he pass your eye test?
No, he actually, to be honest, like has been pretty good whenever he's played for England. Like even before the World Cup, he was doing quite well for them. Is Matt Potts injured? Like I was a bit surprised that he didn't make the England side. Like he was very impressive when England were here as part of the A team, basically. I'm not sure because like on one hand they say they want to like move on from Anderson because the Ashes are there in 12, 18 months, and on the other hand, they are picking Chris Wokes as part of their bowling attack. So that was a bit confusing for me. But yeah, I mean, Atkinson looks to be a very fine prospect for them.
No, they've already added Wood to the squad for the second test, and Wood is 34 himself. So yeah, I think it's a bit of a joke at this point. I think they they still have two more spots to put bowlers who they want to get fit for and ready for Australia in whatever 18 months time, 12, 18 months time. So I don't know. I mean, I don't think that you have the required wherewithal to ask someone to go out like that. So it's an iffy decision for me. But I mean, uh, it's better to err on this side than to err on the other side. So that I'll give to England.
But the Anderson thing, right, is just fabulous because one, the guy is the sheer like, because generally people say fast bowlers, break down a lot quicker with the knee landing and all of that, and we've seen a lot of fast bowlers taper off around the at most 35 mark or something like that. But Anderson's been going, and even like even in India, he didn't bowl much, but the few spells that he bowled really well. Even like there was a Lancashire game that I was watching in Lancashire fan here, and he took seven. Again, it was swinging conditions. It was pure. It was completely overcast. I'm not denying it, but still at 41, it's not like he's bowling 120, 110 and just coming and rolling his arm over or something. Like he's bowling decent pace. Ball is still doing things, and he's got the fitness. That is something which is like goals for people, at 41, like the longevity of for a fast bowler. Like a spinner, at least you can think, okay, it's not bowling that fast, probably around the 98-mile mark or something like that. But coming and hurtling at 135, 133 is a testament to, yeah, it is something special. I mean, people may not like
No,
him, but
I think his greatness is not in doubt at all. But to say that he was a handful in the India series is perhaps a bit of a stretch for me. I think he was wasting a place in that team for sure. And they could have very well had someone like Atkinson who has a lot of bounce at his disposal, if nothing else. But yeah, I mean, in the India series, he was quite useless. I mean, not bowling even 15 overs a day at times and not touching the old ball. So I don't know why they got him here. Perhaps the shadow of the last time he was here in that series in the middle of COVID or something. Perhaps that was looming large, and that's why he came here. But he was more or less a visitor, and they could have been well served by giving someone else a debut on that tour. Having said that, I think when it comes to helpful conditions, which is the case in England, of course, I think even the newer bowlers coming into the fold would be much better served or mentored by having him around. So, they could have told him clearly, boss, we are not going to pick you for the Ashes, but here's your chance to pass on the baton to the next generation. He's still going to do that. He's still going to hang around the England squad as a mentor for the entire summer. I think they've also given a similar job to Flintoff. But yeah, I think they could have at least let him get past Warney if records count for something.
I agree. Like Anderson didn't like cover himself in glory in during the India tour, but I also felt that like he was underbowled a lot. I mean, we don't know whether it was a question of fitness. Like even when there were long partnerships, I remember the last Test match when Jurel and Gill like taking India through. Like Stokes never turned to Anderson, right? So I don't think like we even saw him with the whole ball during the India tour, to be honest. So I think it's a bit like harsh to judge him basis that. But yeah, I
Yeah, but
mean,
Vamu, I mean,
But he was not
the
walking away,
fact that
Chopra. He was not
the
walking away or something. He was not walking off the field and saying, "Okay, I'm tired." He was guy who was on the field,
yeah,
right?
yeah, no,
So Stokes
I'm
didn't
just
bowl
saying
him.
that Stokes didn't bowl him, and I would tend to assume that Stokes does have the knowledge of the playing 11, so he could have given him a go. But if you know that someone's not going to be very effective, you don't give them a go. I mean, it's tough to believe that in a situation like that where you've played all your cards, this is the only card left, and you're going to lose a test match, you won't give him a go. So there must be something. I mean, either it's skill level or fitness or I don't know what it was, but whatever it was, he was wasting a place, whether it was his own doing or someone else's doing. I don't think he
Yeah,
covered
I
himself
think
in
you're a bit
glory in
harsh
the India
because
tour.
they weren't bowling Wood either. They won't. It's not like they were bowling Wood and not bowling Anderson
Would
or so.
definitely bowled more than
Yeah, I mean, if we all recall, like, I mean, Stokes bowled himself, right? Especially in that, I think it was the last test match. Like, Stokes bowled himself after not having bowled for 12 months, middle of nowhere. Like, he bowled himself, but Jimmy wasn't bowling. So, yeah, I wouldn't really like give too much credit to Stokes, like thinking, etc. Like, I have my doubts over his captaincy and his nows, etc. But yeah, I think the broader point is probably like with age. I mean, he was taking up one spot in the attack uh,
No, but
in
also I
conditions
think they already had three.
other than
They
England.
almost had three debutants in their spin, right? Hartley and Bashir and the other leg spinner. Even though I think he had played a couple of matches, he was still technically a debutant. So, and then they had Ollie Robinson, the great man who you thought was going to take the highest wickets in the series, and
I've jinxed him forever.
all those guys.
He's not.
So that's why they
He'll be
probably
out of his. He'll be out of his county side also very soon.
so
But
so that's why I think they wanted to have Anderson around, because you're gonna be handing like 5 debuts on the India tour, right? So that's probably what played into it as well. So they had two of those guys. But
okay,
I
speaking
was
of,
doing something on hold on, let me just finish.
go on.
So I was looking up on Stats Guru, and because I was looking at this age thing, 2014 onwards. That's the last decade. Anderson has played 97 tests and taken 364 wickets at at an average of 22.5, right? And this is and then after he turned 35, because I looked at 35 because that's where I put up like a barometer. He's taken 224 wickets at irrespective of the playing conditions or whatever it is just phenomenal, right? After 35, taking another 200 wickets in those last 6 years, or no, last 7 years, um, of which a couple of years were COVID in between. I think West Indies was the only one. Again, they're the designate. We will come, sir. Whenever you want us, we will come. So West Indies came up for during the COVID time as well. But in those 7 years, he's taken 224 wickets. So I mean, guys, something else. And
Yeah.
I don't think we will see another one like that. It's not like people are just going to watch Anderson and fast bowlers are going to get inspired, saying, "Okay, yeah, we'll also try to go and work on our fitness and go to 40." I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, this is going to be like one of those aberrations, right? Like how Murli's 800 is not going to be touched. Any fast bowler going, for like 21 years like this and reaching 700 also probably is, I don't think, ever going to happen anymore now. So these, Murli's 800 and Anderson's 704 will probably stand for a very, very long time. This is not one of the VaMu predictions. This is probably a fact.
No, Ra, I
No, I
mean,
think
when Walsh ended up with what, 600, I think, 519 or 619, I can't remember which one. But yeah, I mean, even then people said that that's it, that's the deal, and
Yeah, because
it's never
Walsh
going
played
to
till
be
he was
crossed again.
36. I think Walsh played till he was 36 or something.
Yeah, but I mean, all of these numbers, etc. You can be fairly sure that science is going to be at the forefront of challenging them. Till last season or something in the county circuit, you had this journeyman cricketer, I can't remember his name, who was taking wickets and scoring runs for fun at Thata like it. So I'm sure.
I think he was a Lanks guy, so
Yeah.
Max should know
No, I
who
mean,
you're talking about.
So
people
it's going to be challenged,
No,
but
people
I
playing
mean,
in domestic is still different, right? Like Alistair Cook
yeah.
is still scoring in the county champion. He's still playing in county, right?
No,
So
he's retired. He's retired now.
he
No,
played
I'm
last
just trying
season.
to say, yeah, but I'm saying
Yeah.
he's retired. I'm just saying that you can be fairly sure that all of these records, which are about longevity, etc., are going to be challenged. I mean, Root, for example, is pretty close to breaking Tendulkar's record if he continues in the same vein. So I think but I mean, nothing to take away from Anderson. As much as we hated him when he was shoulder barging Jadeja, as much as we hated him when he was putting Ashwin's picture through the shedder, as much as we hated him when he was putting down Kohli, for example. He's a genuine great, if not for anything, but for his performances over so many years. He's a legend of the game. Nothing can take away from that. And to me, he was also a bit of an old school cricketer. I mean, cricket has gotten a little too friendly at times. There's not enough kalesh that happens. And probably the IPL and all the other equivalent leagues, as the BCCI job description puts it, have something to do with it, where you are friends one day and foes on another day, and that obviously can't exist at the same time. But Anderson didn't have friends in the other team, at least not during his during the 5 days of a test match. He treated everyone like an enemy, and perhaps even his own teammates at times when they didn't feel well of his bowling. So yeah, I think a cricketer cut from the old cloth and discovered a complete economy of movement in his bowling action after a few injuries that he had initially. I think the only thing moved more than he liked in his bowling action was his hair, and he made sure that he adjusted it after every single ball. But other than that, I think a genuine legend of the game, and someone whose skill level was completely unmatched in his playing career.
Yes, I started out copying David Beckham haircuts, and then graduated to copying Jimmy Anderson haircuts. So and also don't keep saying we hated. Say you hated, right? Okay. As a Lancashire fan, I always liked Jimmy Anderson. Guy was,
Seriously.
in your face. He was, whenever he was with the ball, it was, you knew something was going to happen. Stuart Broad, okay, we can say is more hateable, but Jimmy Anderson is, like one of those Wasim Akram kind of guys. You don't like him, but you like him. You don't like him because of what he does to your team, but you still like him because of what he is. Stuart Broad is a more, hateable person. But right now, who are still at top of their game is Ashwin and Lion.
Ashwin is top of his game, huh? Oh.
Sir, I knew you would
Top
ask
of
this
the batting order. Top of the
Yes,
batting order doesn't mean top of his game.
there is only one game he is on top of, which is like
Chess.
putting out videos basically.
Macha, it's also chess, ra. He's beating
What,
GMs and
like-
all, ra. What are you saying? Top of his game. Maybe top of the YouTube charts also.
Yeah, he is also top of the batting order for Dindigul Dragons.
That's
for
what I
no
said.
reason.
That's what I said.
He's on top of
Must
many.
have paid like 50 rupees to everyone in that team, Paytm Pay, and then said, I'm going to bat first.
So just one quick question to both of you. Like celebrating Anderson's legacy, like Anderson or Stein at their primes, basically. Like who would you pick if you had to pick?
Max, be honest. Be honest.
Stain is more exciting to watch because of raw pace, right? Raw pace and bounce, but when Anderson swings it in the UK, the guy is different. In MCG, you'll prefer Lion. In Nagpur or Chinnaswamy, you'll prefer Ashwin. This is like that only.
In Nagpur, I will prefer Stein only.
No, but Stain because of what he would do, like to a bowler, right? It's pure pace and kicking up and all of that. Anderson's more, smooth. It's like cutting through butter. Right? The ball just swings away. You don't know whether to prod at it or not. You prod at it, you get caught, and then you get all those Kohli reactions. Yeah.
One quick question, Max. Like, did Babar Azam pick that Anderson bowls cutters from you? Because I just heard
probably.
you say that Anderson bowls nice cutters.
No, swings it away.
Like that.
Swings it away. For listeners who are wondering what that was, after the retirement, a bunch of people poured tributes to Anderson. You had Sachin Tendulkar, obviously, who will do one ChatGPT thing for everybody. He did one more ChatGPT response, which was like 18 or 19 lines of English, but conveyed the same message saying well played. And a lot of other players, Wazim Akram also. I think Wazim Akram was more genuine because you could really see he had typed it out. There were typos and all in there. Babar Azam also put something out. Or Babar Azam's agent or whoever is handling Babar Azam's Twitter account or X account. And he praised Anderson's skill of bowling cutters. And then Anderson probably reading that like, cutters, kiski baat kar rahi hai? Like, you know, is this Adam Holyoke's farewell message? What is he doing? But then he deleted it and then replaced cutters with the word swing. Yeah, the Sultan of swing for this generation is definitely Anderson. A career that someone I read a tweet saying that he is the last playing member from the EA Sports Cricket 2007 edition that has now fallen. So officially, everyone from that version of EA Sports Cricket 2007 is no longer playing actively. So a sad day for EA Sports Cricket 2000 fans.
No, but I think this whole thing about Anderson versus Steyn, I think Steyn was like far and above the more watchable bowler, any condition, any match, any situation. I don't think you would give off a chance to watch Steyn bowl or just have him in the armory. I definitely think that in this generation he will kind of stand out. Anderson's greatness has a different feeling to it, and longevity is definitely one of those traits. But Steyn is electric, man. Like
No,
he's
there's
something
no
else.
argument there.
Nice. Hey, on that note, Brian Lara has come out with a book about his playing days in England. Excited to catch it.
So Brian Lara is giving competition to Ashwin on the bestsellers list. This will not end well.
When I thought like Ashwin had written, and I read Ashwin had written a book, I thought like it was about his whole playing career and all that. This is a book only talks about his childhood days, is it? Like he's going to release more versions of the book and all that. One book I'm sure is going to be all that he studied in school
No,
and all
so-
that. Like he'll have differential
This
equations,
is-
integral equations and stuff like that.
No. This book is called I Have the Streets, right? This is when he used to play on the streets outside his house and all. Then next is going to be I Have the Shields, where he's going to talk about him playing cup cricket, the Palempatti Shield and all of that. Right? That will be the next book. Then there will be one more book of, I Have the Kings. And then I have the thing. I have. It's like the Carry On, set of movies we used to have back in the day. And then this I Have is the template. And then you can keep adding the words from there on. You'll get many more Russian books. I mean, you know him. He's got at least a few more years to retire. And so at least 3 more books can make out of the way.
I have a quiz question, and perhaps you guys will know the answer. What connects these names? And this is a long list: Ashwin, Kohli, Ojha, Mishra, Binni, Jadhav, Manish, Akshar, Sandeep, Sanju, Yuzi, Rishi, Mandeep, KL Rahul, Unadkat, Kulkarni, Sran. Yeah, we'll stop there. What are these names?
You said Kohli also, right?
Yeah, Ashwin Kohli is the start.
Yaar. I was going to say guys who are bowled last over to Dhoni, but that's not going to happen. Barinder Sran, Unadkat, Ashwin Kohli. Those 4 is what throwing me off.
Mandeep, KL, Rishi Dhawan, Aksar, Sanju, Yuzi, Binni, Stuart Binni, not Roger.
No, I think it has got something to do with the IPL, so I'm not able to answer.
Oh, 2 IPL analyst legends. P-Dog photocopy, not able to answer. This is a list of India players who made their men's T20I debut versus Zimbabwe before the current series. And the names which have gotten added to that list are Abhishek Sharma, Dhruv Jurel, Riyan Parag, and I think Tushar Deshpande today.
Yeah, Wait, Kohli made his debut against Zimbabwe?
Yeah, T20I debut against Zimbabwe.
T20.
What a question.
Barinder Sran and Mandeep Singh. Wow, never knew that. Never knew Mandeep Singh. I always get confused between Mandeep Singh and Gurkirat Singh Man. Because
their parents also get confused, right? No problem.
Because Gurkirat Singh Man is playing the Legends Trophy right now. India beat Australia last night in the Legends Trophy. India scored 246 and Australia were bundled out for like 168 or something. The Pathan brothers scored 50s. And there was a video of an interesting altercation between the Pathan brothers while batting. So yeah, that's been
But they're
happening.
fighting amongst each other. One of them is a member of parliament now.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
The elder Pathan, yes, Yusuf was
Wow.
from TMC.
yes. So what is there? We have members of parliaments who are going to become coaches of the country. The members of parliaments can also play, benefit charity tournaments. There's nothing wrong in that.
Oh, lovely.
Guess what? The final is going to be an India-Pakistan final.
Oh, fuck.
Conveniently.
They fixed that also.
Conveniently.
Oh, this is a 20-over tournament. 254 for 6. I thought this was like some 50-over tournament.
20 over, they're putting 254, huh? Get
Yeah.
them into IPL again.
Hey, I mean, it's all the IPL greats, man. Robin Uthappa, Suresh Raina, the Pathan brothers, Yuvraj was there.
Facing Pakistan in the final. next level fixing is happening.
Maybe it's going to be like that World Cup thing about 2007, right? I think. What did you call it? EA Sport.
EA Sports
Yeah.
2007.
EA Sports 2007 will also never end, and this tournament and this rerun, like on our WhatsApp group, will never end. We'll use the same messages again and again.
India is playing a tournament in Zimbabwe where Ruturaj.
Super, bro.
But guys, what do you think of Ruturaj Gaikwad batting at number 4? Like, what is this? We have Shubman Gill, Yashashi Jaiswal, Ruturaj Gaikwad, all of them batting 1, 2, 3, and 4. And Gaikwad did well at 4. Maybe he should do that from now on. Maybe he should start, because we always have a who's going to be number 4 question, right? Maybe Gaikwad can start playing number 4 from now on. I don't know. We have an abundance of openers. Abhishek Sharma, Ruturaj Gaikwad, Yashasvi Jaiswal, and Shubman Gill. How many more openers do you want?
No, I think
So
it's
you're
fine.
actually saying like Ruturaj Gaikwad should replace Sky at number 4 basically in the India T20 setup. Like, let me call up Vikas Singh and like take his views on this suggestion.
Hey, Macha, please
quote the great.
Please thank your stars. Please thank your stars. He didn't put Ashwin's name in that opener list somehow.
to quote the great Iman Pandey, Sky करता क्या है?
Boss, this is like Zimbabwe we are talking about. Sky had played this series, he would have broken all T20 international records for a bilateral series. So, like, this is right up like Sky's comfort zone, basically.
Also, I found out that Washington Sundar is only 24 years old. I didn't realize that until I read this. There was this long piece about him. I was like, how is this guy 24 years old? Didn't he play Gaba, Ka Ghamand and all? Like, was he like a teenager then?
He's the youngest of the Sundar brothers. There is Mithun Sundar, there is Mithun Sundar, and then there is Washington Sundar.
No, but seriously, how can he be 24, guys? Like, he was playing in Gaba. Was he like a teenager then? Because that was 2021, 3 years ago. So he was 21 at that time. He's been playing IPL in before that because he was in 2 franchises before he played at Gaba. And he's 24 now. So I think guy.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think he was part of the same like under 19 team as Pant, right? Or maybe was it like the version before that?
No, must be after.
So-
Because Pant is not 24. Pant is 26 or something. So he's younger than
No.
Pant.
I am fairly sure Pant is like not 24.
Okay, but I mean, but you just feel that he's been you've been hearing his name.
26
Yeah.
Pant.
See, that's what I'm saying. You've been hearing Sundar's name for so long. So that, and he's only 24. So guy has got another decade and a half in front of him, and the guy bats well. Then that batting off ball break all rounder position is right there for his taking. Jadeja is
go and take his name again, Dad. Take his name again.
I mean, you always need.
I just checked. He was actually part of the same T20 under 19 World Cup as Pant and Ishan Kishan. The only difference is that Sundar was 16 at that time.
He was still
So
under.
he
19.
was part of the.
He was still under.
Yeah.
19.
Greatest off-spinning all-rounder for India has been Manoj Prabhakar, by the way. So, in case you were thinking of putting Ashwin's name again.
No, but is one thing I would say, right? We don't create the selectors enough and all of that. But one thing I must give credit is that Washington Sundar has been irrelevant in the IPL for 2 seasons now. Last season he was injured, he didn't play at all. This season he was fit, but he only got 2 games, right? They played Manimar and Siddharth and all these other guys ahead of him. Shabazz was playing ahead of him. So he only got, I think, 1 or 2 games this season. So he hardly played the season at all. Despite being irrelevant in the IPL for 2 seasons, Agarkar and his team still stuck to him because they needed a off-spinning all-rounder and from a certain state who can be swapped if required. And they picked him, and he did well. That first game, and I thought he would actually even win the game, but he was batting. His batting didn't make sense with tailenders out there chasing that small score. But he bowled really well in the last game. I watched the last game. He got Raza. He got those 3 wickets in there, and that was pretty good. So
There were a lot of reports that actually, I don't think it's more so much Agarkar. I think it's more Dravid and Rohit, like, who probably rate him pretty highly, because there are a lot of reports even after the World Cup selection was done that Dravid had asked for Sundar instead of Akshar Patel just to have that off-spin balance
just
in
so
the
that when he
side.
gets
Thankfully,
injured, Ashwin can come back into the T20 squad. Why don't you understand?
thankfully, Agarkar seems to have said nothing doing, like, let's go with Akshar. So it turned out to be a good decision at the end.
But these are all gambles, dude. That's what I'm saying, right? Selections, captaincies are all gambles. They said, okay, we'll pick Akshar, and Akshar now has become the number 1 all-rounder suddenly in the country. He's now, after Shakib, the greatest, left-hand bat all-rounder in the world now. So that has suddenly happened post this World Cup. And then the writing is on the wall that Jadeja said, okay, bye, I'm gone. Now you have Washington Sundar, who's now become that number 3 after, on that list. So I don't know how these things work, but really happy for Washi Sundar. And those 3 wickets, generally he bowls darts, right? He just fires darts, but he actually slowed it down. You could see a very Ashwin-like revs coming on the ball. Apparently revs is a bad word to use. There was this huge controversy on X or Twitter for a while saying, how can you call it revs? It's not revolutions, it is rotations and whatever. But no, he's slowing it down. He's bowling a lot slower. And that's how he got that wicket of Raza. So that's been good.
No, I think the other good thing was I watched highlights of the Abhishek Sharma innings and had a bit of a hiccup in that first match where he got out fairly early. But I think second match onwards, he adjusted well to the slowish nature of the pitch and cracked some really big shots. So, yeah, I think if you're talking about the next cycle of the 20 World Cup already, that's one name that's penciled in for me for sure. Penciled because you can take an eraser to it and rub it away
But one
at
thing,
the earliest opportunity. But yeah, I mean, very exciting prospect, and again, one of those rare players in the Indian circuit. Unlike some people who become captain just to take the opening slot, who can actually bowl while being a top order bat. So yeah, fantastic to see.
so yeah, that's been interesting. So India has gone with 4 bowlers, and they're using Abhishek and Shivam Dube as the 5th bowler in this Zimbabwe series. It has not been fruitful so far in the games that have happened. Both of them have gotten carted all over. If everyone's at around like 5, 4, 6 and all that, these guys are in double digits as far as their economy goes. So that part hasn't been working very well. So Hardik Pandya and Akshar Patel's careers are still, secured. There's no threat at all. Dube and Abhishek are nowhere to, bowling in an international game, at least a bigger international game. But yeah, at least it's good to see that, Gill's captaincy is coming into play. He's giving Abhishek Sharma the hard overs and trying him out. Now Abhishek, because he bowled in the power play as well. Now if Abhishek has taken a wicket in the power play, say Gill kya captain hai boss, all of that. But he got hit for 19 runs, so now we're not going to talk about that. So captaincy is a fake, guys. Just like how VaMu said fielding is overrated, captaincy is also overrated.
Hey, what's happening in MLC? Max, you're supposed to be local correspondent, no?
So the MLC, there was this one game. I don't watch all the games. I only watch the Texas
Why?
Super Kings games.
Why you are not watching, huh?
Only
Sorry, Texas Super Kings. Okay.
Tell. So it's interesting, right? Bravo and these guys are playing because Bravo has been his coach in the IPL, but here he plays. And Faf, who's been having a very bad series in IPL and all that so far, scored a fabulous century the other day. But the interesting thing is actually the Washington team, because Steven Smith is the captain of that team, right? Steven Smith is the captain of a T20 team. And Travis Head and Steven Smith are on the same team. Steven Smith has been playing pretty aggressively and all of that. So that's been good to see. But that team has been held by Saurabh Netravalkar, man. What a year he's having. Like, he did well in the World Cup and he's taken that over into the MLC as well. And the guy is
Hey,
just coming in.
Oracle is going to throw him out like this, Ra? I mean, does he not want to save his job? Cricket is not going to pay the bills.
No, but the games are in the evening, na? 8:30. So he logs off at 6 o'clock and 8:30
okay,
the game.
okay. Sorry.
He's playing in the evenings. He's working from his hotel room in the morning and then logs out and goes to the ground, warms up, and 8:30 he starts playing a game. But Netravalkar has been bowling beautifully, right? You can see that everyone is going like 11 runs on over, 9 runs on over. When Netravalkar is coming in at 6.64. Washington Freedom has been doing well and then been winning games because of Netravalkar and then Head, and of course their captain, their magnetic captain, the captaincy of the captains, Steven Smith. So they are top of the table. Texas, they had one game. They had 2 games with no results. So unfortunately, they're there. But yeah, it's the thing. The MLC and also the SA20 is that there's only 6 teams. So you have to play everyone. And then they still have that stupid qualifier, eliminator, and all that. So technically, only 2 teams are out. So till the last game, anyone can still make it through if you just win 2 games. You just need to win 2 games on the trot, and you're still in the top 4. So it's just like the SA20. 6 teams just doesn't cut it. This doesn't make sense. Or if you're doing 6 teams, you should just have the top 2 play or something like that. But having the playoff format just doesn't make sense. But it's good. We have none of the teams have Pakistan players except the one team, the one that is owned by the San Francisco team. You have Harish Rauf playing in that team along with Shadab. So that's good.
Kammo signed for one of the teams, no?
San Francisco, but he was at the Wimbledon and they were playing Harish Rauf.
Nice.
He hasn't turned up, right? That's what I heard.
No, he hasn't turned up. But that team is very interesting. Not Shadab, sorry, Abrar. Shadab is playing Lanka, Abrar. So that team is very interesting. They have Jake Fraser McGurk, Corey Anderson is their captain, Harish Rauf, and Abrar is there. Also, Liam Plunkett, who I completely had forgotten about, is playing for the San Francisco team. So San Francisco is the only team that has Pakistani players in it. All the others, I think, are owned by Indian conglomerates. So therefore, nothing but.
What team is?
I think the Seattle team. I think
that's because Microsoft is in Seattle.
Yeah, I think he's a co-owner of the Seattle team.
Nice.
But
okay, I want to close the pod by giving you one amazing piece of news about the person who's going to edit this episode after his amazing exploits in USA, where all of us doubted him and made fun of his construction and engineering knowledge and scaffolding knowledge. Hank is off to a new adventure. There is going to be a new stadium in Hobart where they are going to have a roof over the ground and they are going to host indoor test cricket. How about that?
Didn't one of the Australian grounds already have a roof?
Yeah, that was Docklands, where Australia and South Africa used to play. I think played once.
Played once, right? And it was a panel-based roof. So it was completely covered. It had panels and the panels could open this way. And I think one of the balls hit the panel or something like that.
Yeah.
It was a very weird thing.
Yeah, but this is going to be able to host test cricket. I don't know how swing and wind and all of those things are going to happen, but that's what they're trying to do under the able leadership of our own.
Hank will be the project overseer, and then PDP will supply all the concrete for that and get the roof done. So we will keep an eye on that, and we'll keep you posted on the progress of that as we keep hearing about it. This is happening in Hobart, pretty close to where our Australian legends reside. So we will get updates on that. On that note, this is episode 132 of the Bits and Pieces. If my number is wrong, you can listen to the next episode and that will become 132. Or the previous episode, that was 132. How do we know? We don't know, just like captaincy. No one knows what it is. But it is an episode. By the time you hear this episode, the Zimbabwe game would have been done. and probably we'll have more things to talk about. Tushar Pandey's bowling and things like that.
Tushar Pandey. Tushar Deshpande.
Oh, Tushar
He's not-
Deshpande.
He's not Iman Pandey's brother.
Tushar Deshpande has been handed a debut. So
There's also going to be an India Sri Lanka series where I think the broadcasters are going to do a thought experiment. The entire match is going to be made of clips from previous India Sri Lanka series which have happened at this time of the year, and like whether humans are watching or AI is watching will be judged by whether you are able to figure out at a certain point in the match that this is actually an old match. So
Okay, so
that's what they're going to do.
That is Nitin Sundar's nightmare, because you will watch a game and not know if this is real or
No,
not.
that is Nitin Sundar's nightmare because Deepak Chahar was there then. So
He scored a 50 and won a man of the match. Okay, we'll try this once more. Episode 132 of the Bits and Pieces. This is Max, Chops, Varun signing off. Please give us a shout on X, formerly called Twitter, Instagram, and
Threads.
give us Threads.
Threads also, because Max hangs out there.
Yes, I use
with other
Threads.
snakes.
So yes, anywhere you would like to find us, and then give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. That helps the algorithm boost it and push it to other listeners. Tell your friends and family about it. We're pretty family friendly. You know, my family listens to it. My dad listens to it, especially in the episodes when England is playing, like this one. But we'll see what happens for the rest of the England series. By the time we come back next week, there'll be a different set of faces, and we'll take you through what's happening that week in the world of cricket. Signing off. I hope you have a good week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
bye.
TV umpire to director, we have a player review. Can we rock and roll, please?